Promise number 1. Those who pray the Rosary with great faith will receive special graces. A grace is a supernatural gift or favor that God grants us to help us attain salvation. Special graces refer to specific favors that are not necessarily obtained through other prayers, as they are supernatural and timely assistance that allows us to do what we always fail to do with our human strength alone. These graces manifest themselves in various ways. They can give us clarity to make difficult decisions or understand God's will in our lives. They can help us resist the specific temptation that has been tormenting us. They can give us inner peace and relief in the midst of great suffering, loss, or anxiety. But there is one condition. The promise does not simply say, those who pray the Rosary, but those who pray with great faith. We must have complete trust in the process of praying the Rosary, in the intercession of the Virgin Mary, and in God's generosity in granting the promised graces to those who pray it with a sincere and open heart. So, it is not magic, it is contemplation. Praying the Rosary is not a mechanical act of counting beads. Great faith refers to the ability to meditate on the mysteries, the events of Jesus' life, with an open heart, firmly believing that in doing so, we are entering into communion with Christ through the eyes of his mother. To this end, we recommend that each time a mystery is mentioned, we pause for a moment and imagine the scene. Where was it? What was the weather like? Who is there? What are they doing? What is the feeling at that moment? What does that moment mean, and what does it want to convey to us? Etc. Another tip to increase concentration is to contemplate an image or representation of the mystery while we pray. On our channel, you will find videos of the Rosary with specific images for each moment. We will leave the link in the description box so that they can accompany you in your prayer. If you notice that you are distracted, simply return gently to the scene and your prayers. The important thing is to persevere and not give up, because we know well that the evil one wants us to give up and will do everything possible to prevent us from praying. To pray with faith is to imitate Mary, who kept all these things in her heart. As our mother, she knows exactly what graces we need to advance toward holiness. This promise is a spiritual exchange. We offer the Virgin our time and our faithful and constant meditation. She intercedes before God so that we receive not only the graces necessary for salvation, but also specific graces that accelerate our growth, resolve deep-rooted spiritual problems, and give us the tools to live the Christian life at a higher level.
The best way to understand this promise is with a practical example. Imagine that we are struggling with a persistent sinful habit, for example, sloth, which is considered one of the 7 deadly sins. To be a sin, sloth must be voluntary and conscious. That is, the person is capable of acting, knows they should do so, but chooses not to because they prefer rest, comfort, laziness, or conscious procrastination. It is not a physical or mental incapacity, but a lack of will. Knowing this, let's continue with the example. We need the will to get up early and devote time to prayer or any other activity, but our willpower always fails. So we decide to pray the Rosary daily, meditating on the joyful mysteries, for example, the Annunciation, and we ask the Virgin Mary, "Mother, grant us the grace of your obedience to overcome this laziness." When we finish the Rosary, we don't immediately feel a magical change, but rather an inner light and a subtle strength that we didn't have before. The next day, the alarm goes off, and instead of turning it off out of inertia, we suddenly understand that laziness is not just tiredness, but a lack of love for God. And we feel an urge to get up that we didn't have before, whether out of love or for some other reason. The end result is this special grace, granted by Mary through the Rosary prayed well. It gives us victory at the critical moment of temptation, allowing us to make the right decision and begin to break the cycle of bad habits. This brings us to the end of our video. We hope this simple example has been helpful. Write in the comments box. What other example do you think could be applied to this promise? And what grace do you think would be granted? If you liked the content, please don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to our channel. This helps us get YouTube to notify more people about the power of the Rosary. Thank you very much for joining us. See you next time.